So, thank you for joining us again today with Family Strengthening Families. And in the month of June, we have so many different holidays and celebrations that are held in this month. And one of those celebrations is Father's Day. So, today we're just going to be looking at how you can be that father that your children really need you to be. So today we're going to be talking more to our fathers, but this is not necessarily, I guess, just for our fathers, because mothers and other caregivers and supporters can also be a support to the fathers as well through today's topic. So we're just going to talk about, being that father, being the father that your children really want you to be. Who is it that they want you to be as their father? Um, and so, how can you effectively be that father for your children? And some fathers might say, well, things have changed. Things changed since my father raised me. Things are different now. We have more technology in use. We have different changes in the workforce. We have, changes in just the family structure. So, how can I be that father effectively for my children? So the first way we can talk about being that effective father is being committed to your children, being committed to your family, carrying through with things, being there for them, being that supporter for them. Um, Learning, from your father or male models or father figures in your life, or even friends or mentors that you have, learning how to be that father, being committed, you know, learning from those examples, carrying on the things that maybe that male role model showed you, showing your child, whether it's your son or your daughter, showing them the things to look for in that father figure. And so, you may say, well, I didn't have that in my life. And that's fine. Not every family, is the same. So even if you didn't have that growing up, it's okay. Or even if you had that growing up and maybe they didn't set the best examples for you, you feel, you can always replace those bad examples or insufficient examples and habits and just start new things on your own. Parenting is part natural and part learned. So some of the things that maybe you didn't know, maybe you've learned over the years, incorporate that into your parenting, into your fathering. Just it's okay to alter things and change things to make them fit and work for your family. So if things didn't work in the past, replace them, build on those things, get stronger and move forward. And then being committed long term to your children. Parenting does not stop when your child walks across that field and graduates from high school or college. You're still that parent until, death. So you're still a parent and be committed for the long haul. You may have those days where your child has worked your last nerve. Maybe they did some things that disappointed you, or maybe they just don't listen. They didn't listen to some things you tried to tell them. They're not really following the examples you're setting for them. That happens in parenting. Don't give up the fight. Keep the commitment and be consistent. And so another way to be that effective father for your child is to, know your child. Just know your child. Know, when your child is hurting, when they're upset, disappointed, sad, even without them telling you. Know in their actions, in their body language, that nonverbal, and just know your child. Know when you've asked them, did they clean their room? And they say yes, without even going to check that room, you're going to know. Just know your child. Spend that time, a lot of one on one bonding time. Communicate with your child, build that relationship up so that you're getting to know your child. And then as your child grows older, you'll know what works and what doesn't work for that relationship. And remember, no two children are the same. So, what works for one child is not necessarily always going to work for the other. So, be prepared, be aware of that, and just know your child. Spend that time together, especially when they're younger, as much time as you can, and bond and build those relationships up so that you just know them. If someone comes to you and they're telling you something about your child, if you even if you weren't there, you'll kind of know if that's the behavior, if that's something your child would do. Sometimes children can surprise us, and they may do things when you're not in reach or in sight, but know your child, just know them, know what makes them happy, know what their favorite comfort foods are when they're having a bad day, as they get older and they start dating, they have disappointments, in sporting events, they're losing a game or something of that nature. Know how to build your child up, know how to be that support for them, because children they look for their mothers more so as the nurturer, and they're looking at their father as that protector, as that provider for them, the person that's going to be there. If you're having a bad day, you want mom, lay on her shoulder and cry, but and tell you it's okay. But if somebody makes you mad, you want dad to be there and say, I got this, it's okay. You looking for that father to really be there and have your back and support you. So know your child and know when you're needed to step up and do something for your child. So just knowing your child, being consistent, even with the communication. If you start routines or traditions with your children, be consistent with that. If you go to the practice fields with them and this is something they look forward to, be consistent. If it's not going to happen, communicate with them and let them know, so they don't feel like, okay, dad is just not being there for me, or he never goes through, he never follows through what he says. Follow through and be consistent with discipline. Be consistent. If you're expecting certain grades or certain behaviors, be consistent. Don't allow them to come home with a D and you're okay, but you actually want them to have that A or that B. Be consistent with how you're communicating with your child. Be consistent with what you're expecting from them. Be consistent with the rules you have, and be consistent with your actions and your behavior. If you're telling your child you're going to do something, you're going to take them to an event, you're going to just spend that time hanging out, but then your friends come by and you decide, oh, I'll just hang out with them another day. Those children are going to know, okay, my dad didn't follow through, he wasn't consistent. If something is not working, it's not going to happen. Talk to your children and communicate. You don't want to disappoint them, and have them feeling that they can't trust you, or they just they're not confident in your actions. So be consistent with them, and that's one of the things that children really look for, is consistency. Whether it's parents and caregivers, we realize it or not, children actually do want us to be consistent, and that's both mom and dad. They want consistency. They may not always show it, they may not act as if they do, but in actuality, it's something that keeps them focused, keeps them grounded. And as parents and caregivers, it's our job to keep things flowing, to have that consistency in place to make sure things are going as they're scheduled to go. So be consistent. You know, and being consistent, just know, again, going back to knowing your child, know what works. If something isn't working for your family, you don't want to continue with that and push it through if it's not working, but find what works and continue on. Don't do things that's not working. If it's not working, try something else. Go back, figure out what's going to work for you and your family, and then carry through with that. And so, moving on to another way that you could be that father your children really want you to be, is being that protector and that provider. Again, children are looking at their parents as those caregivers, those nurturers, providers, supporters. So be that protector. Show ownership. Take pride in your family. When you're at an event, you're at a school function, a ceremony, a graduation. I know we've all seen those proud parents, or maybe you've been that parent that stood up and you show that this is my child. I'm proud of my child. Whether it's your son scoring a touchdown at the game and you're yelling, you're excited, you jump up and you want to tell everybody in the stands that that's your child. You're proud of your child. Or whether it's your daughter who made the softball team, or maybe they received an award, they received their first job, their driver's license, their permit. Whatever it is that you're proud of, show that to your child. Be that supporter that they need you to be, and be that protector, that provider. And that doesn't mean just financially, because some fathers think, okay, well, I'm paying, my child support, or I'm paying for their instrument for school, or I'm buying what they need. But children need more than just that financial support. They need that support physically, emotionally, spiritually. They need that guidance. They need you to be present and be in that present moment. Some fathers can be there, but their mind is somewhere else, or they multitask and they're picking their children up and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're not spending that time, that quality time with their child. Children need that. They need you to be their protector, to be their provider. If they're having a moment, they're having a bad day, and they come to you, be that, going to another point, being that active listener, being that parent that actually listens to your child. Just know what's going on. Don't just hear it, actually listen. Take it in. Communicate back with your child to let them know you're hearing what they're saying, you're understanding. It may be a teachable moment where maybe they're going through some things that you've already dealt with, and you can have that time to just kind of talk to them, show them that you're human. You've been a child before, you've been a teen before, before you were their parent. So you've gone through some of the things that they are yet to experience. So be that active listener, be there as a supporter, be there as that protector, that provider that your child actually needs. I hear people say, well, daughters need their father more than the sons. Not necessarily true. A child needs their parent, period. You want to be that role model for your children. You want your son to know how to be that man, to be there for his family, to be the provider, be the protector, be that guidance for their family. You want your daughter to know who to look for in her spouse, or whatever that is for your family, whatever that looks like for your family. Be that for your child. Be there, be consistent, know your child, be that listening parent, be their biggest supporter. Be there and be in the present moment for them. And then and going on to another way that you can be that father that your children really want and need you to be, is just tell your children how proud you are of them. Going back to that ownership, being proud. Tell that to your children, communicate that to your children. Let them know they're loved, let them know they belong. As humans, we all have that longing to belong, in a group. You want to belong, so let them know you belong to me. No matter what happens, no matter, if you fail, we go through things and we attempt things and we don't get it right the first time, we keep going and going and going, you're still mine, you still belong to me. That's what children want to hear. They want to know that they're loved and they're protected and things are going to be okay as long as they have that parent around. So be that encourager for your child. And it helps them feel, by telling your children this and showing them this, it helps your children feel more secure and loved. So then that communication stays open. You don't have to necessarily worry as much with the peer pressure that comes in, although they'll face it. But if you have that relationship established with them and they know, my father is there, my dad is there, their peer pressure is not going to be as bad, because they'll be able to talk to you more. And then hopefully you set those examples in place for them so they won't have to feel that they're going through it alone. And they'll kind of know a little bit better way of how to manage that when it comes up. And so being active, again, just being there for them and showing your children how to have healthy relationships. We talk about that a lot here, communication and healthy relationships for our families. Showing your children how you care for their mother. Even if you're not in a relationship any longer, have that mutual respect for one another. The mother shows respect, you show respect, and just talk with your child's mother about your child, what's needed, how to be a good co-parent. Co-parenting can be hard, but having that communication to show your children you're both team players, and how teamwork actually works to better things. Show that support and show that love for your child's parent, because at the end of the day, children are going to look at how you treat one another. So even if you're saying one thing but you're doing something else, you're saying, "Oh, I respect your mom," but you're talking about the mother to your child, or the mother is talking about you to the child, and things are just not lining up. Be consistent. Show that respect for one another. And if you are in a relationship, you're married in the same home, date your spouse. Show affection. Show your children how to have those healthy relationships and how that relationship actually looks. Be there and just show your children, this is what love and respect looks like. And just find ways to incorporate that love throughout your home. And if you find that things are not working, again, talk about it with your spouse, away from your children, or your partner, or the co-parent, away from your children, and find out how you're going to make this work so you can show your children how to have those healthy relationships. And then also, you know being there in times of crisis for your family. As a parent, as a father, children, like I said, they look for that father as to be that protector. Especially when things are really going wrong, most times they're looking for dad. Mom, they want mom to be that nurturer, but they want dad to come through and really have their back. So when there's a crisis going on with your child, be there for your child. And it goes back to, knowing your child, knowing, maybe you have a child that's not as affectionate. Maybe they don't want a hug. Maybe they just want someone to sit there and listen to them. Or maybe they want someone just to sit there. Maybe they don't even want to talk. They just want you to be present in that room with them. Be there for your child. If your child needs help outside of what you can provide, find the help that they need. Get them the services they need to help them to move forward. And that goes into the spiritual part of being that father that your children really want you to be. If you feel that you're grounded spiritually, you know yourself, you can be there for your children. Pass that on. Pass those values on to your children. Show them how to be a grounded, valued, respected person. And if you feel, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, go to someone you trust. Whoever your supports are, if it's your church family, your community, your spiritual group, mentors, your father, your grandfather, your uncles, whoever it is for you, that helps you. Let them be a support for you. Use those social connections to help guide your children and to teach your children how to also be spiritually grounded. So, again, be that father that your children want you to be. And mothers, grandmothers, aunts, caregivers, supporters, community, family, friends, be an encourager for that father. Be that supporter that they need you to be, because parenting is not a walk in the park, and no one gets it right the first time always. It's part natural. Parenting's part natural, part learned. So this is a learning process. So if you see that father may have forgotten something, or maybe they didn't do things the way you thought they should do, or it didn't go the way you planned, don't be so hard on them. Give them that support they need. Be that encourager for them. And fathers, as well as mothers, be that team player that you need to be for your children. Show that commitment. Know your child. Be that active listener. Be consistent. Be that protector, provider, that lover, that spiritual guider that your children need. So again, with Father Day approaching, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, those in fathering roles, soon to be fathers, future fathers. Happy Father's Day, and enjoy your weekend. And hopefully your fathering will, be strengthened by something we shared today. And we thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on the next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.